Hello, I'm Chris Sloan with Level 10 Interactive. Today we're going to look at how to create a custom dynamic page with a Drupal using the Views and Panels module and how we're going to pass arguments from views to those specific panels. In order to complete this specific demonstration, there's 4 modules that we're going to have to install. One of those is actually found in Drupal core, and that is going to be the taxonomy module, so no installation, just simply need to enable that module. We'll also need to go and download a few other modules as well as enable those, the CTools module, the Panels module, and the Views module, and that's all we'll need to complete the demonstration today. Once we've installed our modules, then we'll actually need to go in and activate those modules. So it starts with the CTools modules, and we'll actually go in and indicate that we need to utilize those modules. And then we'll go down to the taxonomy module, go ahead and turn that one on, as well as all of the panels modules we need there, and the views modules, and then we save our configuration. Once those have been saved, next we'll need to go ahead and actually build out our views. So we'll slide down to the views area and go ahead and add a new view, and we'll name our view something specific so that we can recognize that later on when we're trying to reference it. Here you'll need to see the unique name, so we'll call this views panels and give it a description just so we can identify it in the administrative area. Go ahead and hit next, and once we do that, then we actually have several different options of things that we can do, and we're going to start by setting some of the default information that we need to add. First, we'll need to add our argument that's going to be part of the taxonomy term, and we'll go ahead and create that here. Taxonomy, filter by term. And we don't really need a whole lot of data. However, you probably want to transform in the path, making it all lowercase. So just in case, this way you don't have any issues with the URL passing something that doesn't actually display, say, a capital letter and so forth. Update that, and now we have several other options we'll need to set. Head back on up here and go ahead and then adjust some of the filters. We do want to have all of the content we add on the site be actually published in live content, so we'll go ahead and hit node published. Add that. We want to specify yes, it does need to be published. We'll also want to add some specific fields. These are just the content areas that we want to display. For this demonstration, we're just going to use the node body as well as the node title. Two basic pieces of information that we're going to display to our users. For the labels, we really don't want to show that information back to the user, so we'll just go ahead and add and remove that, and then we'll have trim the actual length to say maybe just 200 characters. And limit it from actually putting HTML, so if there's an image or an LI tag or something like that, it doesn't say open when we actually cut that piece of content. Update that, and then we'll be taken to the area for the title of the node. Again, remove the label. Go ahead, and we don't need any of those same indicators that we had with that we used with the body content. We will want to go ahead and link this to the actual node. So now you'll see that we've actually added the body and the title, but typically what you're used to seeing on an output is probably the title with some of the content, so we'll go ahead and rearrange those by default. We also want to set a default sort criteria on these to indicate that we want to see nodes, and then based upon their publish date, showing the newest content first and then the older content further on down the page. So we'll do a sort criteria of the post date. We'll also limit the number of items to display to no more than 5. And that'll be pretty good from the basic pieces that we want to add here. Now that we've got the basic pieces added in, what we'll want to do is go ahead and then start specifying specific pieces of content panes that we're going to show on the actual panel. So we'll add a new display of a content pane, and notice it carried all of those defaults we had set already into it. So we're not going to have to adjust those each time we add a new pane. This time we're only going to add one pane for the demonstration. I'll then actually add 4 additional ones, but for sake of demonstration and for time, I'll go ahead and just show you how to actually add one pane, and then you could replicate those steps in 2, 3, 4, 5 times, however many panes that you'd like to produce. We want to name the content pane something unique so that we can actually recognize it in the admin area. We're going to call this the blog pane, and because we're going to limit this to just blog posts. So you notice I actually created it, named it blog pane. Update that, and then I've got some other settings. We actually want to give this a title and say, hey, we want this to be called blog posts override. Now if I had not overridden this would actually apply this change and then store it as a default, which would apply to each new pane. I don't want to do that. I just want this to apply to this specific pane, so that's why I add that styling there. We also want to give an administrative title so that we can recognize this once we switch over into the actual panel page. So we'll go ahead and call that panel pane so we can recognize that there. And also we want to set this other panel setting of where the taxonomy term or where the argument comes from. We know we're actually using a taxonomy term as an argument, but we need to know where it's going to come from. We're going to get that from the panel argument. So we'll select that here and go ahead and update that. That adds it in to that particular pane, and now it specifies that the taxonomy term that this is filtering on has to be received through the panel page. Last, specific to this content pane, we also want to add one more filter that only a specific node type can show, and that node type is going to be blog post for this specific pane. Again, don't add it as the default or override the default. Hit override and then update, and now you are limiting just the view to only show blog pane specific items. I'm going to go ahead and save this content pane and this actual view now, and then you'll notice that my listing here shows as blog pane and has all those settings specific to just the blog. You can continue to add additional panes as you see fit here. Again, for different node types, like I have blog, you might want to have node types for images or videos and things like that, and you would continue to add a new pane and then just adjust the filter based on your specific titles and so forth for that specific pane. Once we've added all of the panes we want to have, we'll go ahead and save the view, and then we have each of those panes that we can actually pull from the panels area. With our views ready, let's go ahead and create our panel. You'll navigate over to the panels area and just create a new panel page. We want to give this an administrative title so that, again, that we can recognize it in our admin area, and we're going to call this a sports panel. We also want to give this a customizable URL, so we'll call that sports new, and we'll send it with the argument that we're actually going to pass. So that %1 there actually indicates what the taxonomy term that we're going to then be passing throughout the panel page. So it's imperative that you actually include that as part of your path, because as that piece changes in the URL, the content that's displayed back actually changes on the panel page. Then we'll hit continue. Wait a second for this to reload. Once we have that, you'll actually see that the argument is there and set. And we need to specify that that argument is going to be based around the taxonomy term. Go ahead and hit taxonomy term ID, and then we specifically choose name, select the vocabulary that we're going to use. We're going to use the tags which we've set up. However, if you wanted to use site-wise any kind of term, you could definitely do that. You don't have to specify just a specific vocabulary. Go ahead and hit finish, and that saves that information. We can then hit continue and then get into the actual builder. From here we choose what style of panel that we want to use, and so you'll notice there's several options. There's the builder, there's a single column, there's a dual column, there's a triple column. So you have each of these options here. the best is to go ahead and usually choose the dual column. That's what I prefer. And then for this demo, we'll have that. We've also got an upper area, so if we want to have a slider or something like that, we can actually add information there. Maybe you've got some advertising that you want to place and so forth. So we'll go ahead and hit continue once we've chose our layout. And then we want to disable the other regions that are available there and hit continue. From there, now we have several different pieces. If we wanted to give this a title, so let's just call this percentage 1, which will again take information from the URL that we're going to pass, or that term specifically. So now we have the taxonomy term panel page, and then we need to add all of those specific panes that we actually created. So let's place some on the left side. Add another one over here. So we've got news, we've got the blog, and then on the right hand side we're going to add the other two that I've created here, which are just page information, and I believe the other one is stories. Get that all put on there. Okay, so great. So now I have those panels that I created in the system. Again, you could create as few, as many as you need. I've got 4 here just to show you how flexible and how the system will change, again, based upon what we're actually passing over. Go ahead and hit finish. And then we'll actually also need to, one more time, go ahead and save that. If you don't, all the work, it won't be stored. So you need to actually hit save. And then from there, what you'll see is that all the information is set up, stored in the system. I can come back and edit it and change it and so forth. But right now, at this point, what we've created is actually going to work. So if you notice, I've got a URL string here of sports with /new with the percentage there. So utilizing that new URL set there, I can actually show you here what that's going to look like when we set that up. So let's go ahead and just browse over to a URL string that we'll check out here, and let's see what happens. So let's try baseball, some tags that I've already got in the system and some content that's already created there. So let's just see what happens when we go to sports news /baseball. Alright, so I've got, if you see here, different posts. So you see baseball panel page, which again that's coming from this URL right here, and it's pulling specific pieces of content that have all been tagged with the term baseball. If I change that to football, you'll notice that the content changes because the content is not all tagged football and baseball. It's not all the same content. You know, and you could try that with as many terms as you'd like. And again, you're really allowing your site to be much more dynamic for your users, but you don't have to create these specific pages over and over and over again. Once you create this panel and you pass these arguments this way, you know, you get that same look and feel from section to section, and again, you get something very custom that each of your users can really enjoy. So I hope you found this useful. Hopefully you find some great ways to use it. You know, if you have other questions, you could definitely hit me up on Twitter at Sloan Innovation, or always email me chris.s@getlevel10.com, and find out more from our website level10design.com. Thank you.